A very good evening to each one of you. Yeah. On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this session on Horticulture Cluster Development Program of National Horticulture Board. The session is organized under the aegis of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee of the Chamber. The committee is chaired by Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, who is the CEO of MTR Foods, co-chaired by Mr. Narsimha Nakshatri, who is the Agri and Horti Consultant of Nakshatri Associates, and Mr. Prakash, Technical Director, Change for Holistic Agriculture and Green Enterprise. On behalf of the Chamber, we acknowledge the support of Mr. Chirag Jain for facilitating this program. We extend our hearty welcome to Mr. Dhal Singh, who is the Joint Director, Cluster, National Horticulture Board. Welcome, sir, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation to address at this session. We also welcome Mr. Chirag Jain, who is the Director, Program Management Unit of Grant Thornton, and his team for facilitating this session. Now I request our members and the distinguished speakers to join us for the Karnataka patriotic song. Please do stay with us.
जय भारत जननीय तनु जागे जय हे कर्नाटक माते जय सुंदर नदी मन गणनाडे जय हे रतनुति गणने भूदेविय मकुटद नवमणिये अंदद चंदद ಹೊನ್ನಿನ ಕಣಿಯೇ ರಾಘವ ಮಧುಸೂದನ ರವತರಿಸಿದ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನು ಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನು ಜಾತೆ जननीय जो गुण वेदक घोष जननीय जीवमु निन्नावेश हसुरिन गिरिಗಳ ತಾನೆ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕೊರಳಿನ ಮಾಲೆ ಕಪಿಲ ಪತಂಜಲ ಗೌತಮ ಚಿರನತ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಶಂಕರ ರಮನುಜ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ ಮಕಲೇಶ್ವರರಿನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ षडक्षरि पन्ना कम्बल कुविपति जन्ना तंबि गणति चिरमंगल राम कवि कोकिलगण पुण्याराम नानक रामानंद कबीरर भारत जननीय तनुजाते जय हे कर्नाटक माते भैरव वैसळरायिद नाडे कन्नड जगडर नेत्तिन बीडे करावती कुंडा कावेरिय वररंगा चैतन्य परमहंस विवेकन भारत जननीय तनुजाते जय हे कर्नाटक माते सर्व जनांगद शांतिय तोಟ प्रतिकर कंगण सेयुव ನೋಟ हिंदू कैत्र मुसलमान भारत जैन रुद्याನ ನಾಯಕ ವೈದಿಕರ ರಾಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ನುಡಿ ಕುಡಿದಾಡುವ ದೇಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಯ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ದೇಹ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, all. The Chamber also acknowledges the support of our member organization, Mrs. Bueller, Mrs. MTR, Fundermax, and Sona Group for their annual sponsorship of the events. And now I would request Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, Chairman of the Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee, to deliver his welcome address and set the context. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupa, and a very good evening to all of you. And first of all, thank you so much, both the speakers, for accepting this to talk, Mr. Dhal Singh and Mr. Chirag Jain. Also, to all the audiences, our committee members, co-chair Mr. Nakshatri, Mr. Prakash, and also our BCIC Secretariat. Today's event is on cluster development program that Government of India, the Ministry of Agriculture and Family Welfare, who out of 53, they had initially identified 53 clusters, out of which they selected 12 to start with.
Yeah.
And in that context, we wanted both the speakers to talk about and disseminate information, and which is going to help all of us. To talk about a bit of the CDP, which is called Cluster Development Program. uh, when we talk about 12 clusters in 11 states, basically it talks about one product in one cluster to promote that one product. So as we're in Karnataka, so I'll give the example of Karnataka like Chitradurga. It is for pomegranate. And also, if I really talk about South India, other states in Telangana or AP, I don't remember exactly, the Mehboob Nagar for mango and Theni in Tamil Nadu for banana. So this is where there are 12 clusters identified to promote close to 11 products, if I believe, because Apple is there for HP and Kashmir. There are two places where the support is going to be there for Apple. The whole purpose is done as a part of doubling the farmer's income, and also to see that what kind of support can be provided from pre-production to last mile connectivity, and then therefore making the products more competitive also in the export market, and aim to increase export by more than 20%. 10,000 crores investment is expected in this area, and it is expected that 10 lakh farmers will get benefited out of this. So this is a huge program, and huge program, that cluster development program. I will not take much time. Both the speakers are distinguished speakers. They know the subject very well, and I'm sure that it's going to benefit all of us. Thank you so much, and over to Rupa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I welcome Mr. Devashish Mitra, who is the member of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee and MD of Kisan Mati Agri Solutions, to introduce on the topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm also working very closely with Grant Thornton as an advisor to them on various projects that they are on. So very quickly, friends, all of us have been in this industry and this space for quite a few decades now. And Kshatri and I have also worked together for almost 3 decades. One of the things that we've always faced as a challenge is that when those of us who are in business tend to look at, a sector from end to end, which is from, if I take my example from gherkins, from the seed to the final marketplace somewhere, wherever it may be in the world, the government side tends to work with departments and in terms of silos. And very often, we were left to move to seek support from different departments, different ministries, and there was no holistic view that was coming through to how to make a particular product win, make it a strong economic opportunity, both for businesses as well as for the country. The cluster development program, the way it has been designed and architected, actually addresses these issues because it is an end-to-end kind of an initiative, right from planting materials to accessing the market, creating brands, delivering a full value add, is what this whole project is about, or this initiative is about, and it's going to run across the country as well. So I would suggest that those of us who are interested and who fit the bill, look at this IA agency role that is there. It is a good one. I think it's going to be something that can make a serious impact and will be good for our state as well. So back to the team. Rupa?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Mr.
Rupa.
Narasimhan Kshatri, who is a co-chair of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee, to introduce the distinguished speakers. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rupa, and everybody. Thanks to all the participants, those who have joined us for this the important webinar. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you are
yes.
audible.
Okay. And today's the speaker, Mr. Dal Singh. He has done his postgraduate in agriculture and specialized in horticulture from Agra University. He's been working with the government sector for the last 34 years with the key expertise in the agriculture and horticulture cluster and has handled many projects assigned to him. Now he is dedicatedly working for the cluster development program of a National Horticulture Board of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So another speaker, Mr. Chirag Jain, and thanks a lot for coming, Chirag and Dal Singh ji. Mr. Chirag Jain is an agribusiness professional and with more than 12 years of experience. He's an alumni of Delhi University and also GB Pant University of Pantnagar. He has been a part of the public sector advisory team of Grant Thornton, Bharat for approximately 10 years with a key expertise in food processing, agriculture and horticulture sector. He has worked on more than 50 assignments in different food and agribusiness fields. Currently, he is handling projects with the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, NHB of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Ministry of Food Processing Industry, and Ministry of Animal Husbandry. He has handled infrastructure projects worth of approximately investment to the tune of $1 billion and supported around 1 million farmers in our country. And Mr. Devis Mitra, and who is my friend, and also we worked together for the last 3 decades. He's having more than 4 decades of experience in the Pepsi, ITC, and the built as a senior level. He was also the person who was responsible for India's gherkin industry to the level today. He was the MD of the Balapur's global company. He's also initiated several agri and horticulture initiatives in the Karnataka, Odisha, West Bengal, Jharkhand, and MD of Calypso Foods, MD of Calypso Bengal Foods, Pact for Rural Livelihoods, etc. Currently, he's also the MD of Pact for Rural Livelihoods and MD of Kisan Mandi Solutions. He's also a member of BCIC and PAC, and he has joined all the way from Uttar Pradesh. And thanks to all the speakers joined from Delhi and all across the places. Thank you very much. Now it is over to Mr. Chirag Jain, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nakshatri. I think it was a detailed conversation we had initially, where you have highlighted that cluster development program is something which is of interest for the state as well as for the larger stakeholders, and definitely National Horticulture Board, which is promoting this program. So from the Heartful, I think I would like to thank you for this great introduction, and definitely to Mr. Ankur, that probably has been part of the complete BCIC chamber and has been part of this particular program, and definitely to Mr. Mitra. He has been an advisor to us for so many years. And definitely Dhal Singh, Dhal Singh sir has been helping PMU team, as well as he has been part of the complete framework when we have designed the cluster development program for the Government of India, National Horticulture Board, Ministry of Agriculture. So I request BCIC to put that presentation up, and as we start the presentation, I would like to brief that why this horticulture sector is one of the booming sector as on date. It is important to highlight that now horticulture production have passed the production of agriculture, right? We have passed through the overall production of agriculture, and that's how the horticulture is so important. And there has been multiple studies which clearly indicates that horticulture provides better income generation to not only the farmers but also the processors, those who are part of the complete ecosystem. With those things in place, horticulture has been the key mandate for not only from the central government of India but also for multilaterals as well as for government. This has been the key area where they wanted to put in investments. Moreover, from the sustainability point of view as well, the water requirement, the climate change activities, and the carbon credit ecosystem around this is probably more powerful in the horticulture sector vis-a-vis the other parts of other sector of agribusiness. So from that angle, horticulture development is very important aspect for development of the state as well as development of the country. From that angle in place, in the horticulture cluster development program has been designed, and there has been a great introduction was also being introduced by Mr. Ankur, about the complete program, why it was conceptualized. But I'll also give you more details about the program as we go forward. I request if the next slide can be given. Yeah. Next, please. So if you see from the country national perspective, we are one of the largest producer in banana, papaya, pomegranate, mango, ladyfinger, and couple of other crops, while second in couple of other crops including potato, onion, cabbage, brinjal, and couple of others. Now, in terms of if you see the total production which India has achieved is about 331 million metric ton, and I think this particular growth is almost like 3 to 4% it has been increasing every year. It is also important to highlight that out of the total contribution to the gross value addition in the agriculture sector, the horticulture contributes 33% in terms of the total gross value addition, while the area coverage in terms of the horticulture is only 18%. So while using 18% area, the GVA produces 33%. That's how the kind of monitoring activity which this particular sector evolves is huge in terms of tremendous opportunities. There is another important opportunity which is to be highlighted. Almost 10,000 crore of export is happening for the fresh fruits and vegetable. That's also an earmark, and this has been growing year on year in number of these things. There are a couple of imports also, which includes apple, which includes kiwi, and couple of the smaller imports. But yes, there has been significant import which is also happening. So government of India has visualized that they have identified various clusters across the country that which are natural agroclimatic clusters, and they have their own strengths so that they can become global, they can compete in the global market and also compete with the global clusters. That was the idea behind this cluster development program. So the Indian clusters can compete with global clusters, and they have also very very specifically that we call that we have almonds from some specific location in the country. Similarly, we have Italy apple from Italy, or we have Washington apples. Similarly, there is a cluster, there is a area which is very popular for that particular crop. That's how we wanted to also promote a crop not only in India but also globally. It is also important to highlight what is the condition of export as of now. Netherlands, we almost in the grapes, we produce and we export approximately 36% share is there. Similarly, in UAE, we have a control of 56% of our mangoes. In Bangladesh, we export our lime, lemon, and oranges. In banana, we have UAE. We have about 1/3 of our export goes to UAE. Similarly, in Netherlands, we have our pomegranate which goes. So we are touching globally couple of countries, but there is a huge potential, right? In terms of global ranking, if we see, we are almost on the export ranking, we are on ninth or 10th number. So what in terms of there are smaller countries in the world which are exporting much more than the country or India. So which while the production for us is huge, right? So even though we have a huge consumption, but yes, there are other measures which are also inhibiting our export growth. It is also important to highlight that India, the potential is that in terms of whatever 1 to 2% of global export, what we measure in terms of global export, we have a target of 10% in the next couple of years. So with that target and vision in mind, that we are going to globally control 10% of share in the fruits and vegetable export market, there are strategies which are behind this, and the strategies includes, one of the strategies is the cluster development program which government of India has launched last year. Now, in terms of the larger population, yes, there's a huge opportunity behind this. Definitely, the demand. It is also important to highlight the demand generation from the country itself is huge. There are about 300 million metric ton of demand, which is still there, and we are almost. That's the reason if we really exclude the wastages and the processing level, we are almost in the equivalent of what we are producing and we are also consuming. It is also important to highlight that in the couple of years with the food processing uh, opportunities which are being created, the current level of fruits and vegetable would be almost doubled in the next couple of years, which indicates that by 2030 we need a huge production potential around these countries, which not only creates an opportunity for more production but also the quality production as well. Next, please. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So now if we see from the 2030 vision perspective, that government of India, as I highlighted earlier, that by 2030 they have a vision in place that we are going to be the global competitive clusters, and we are going to control about 10% of share in the global market. Government of India, with they are converging various activities which they are following. So Ministry Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, MIDH program, I'm sure most of the people would be aware about this. They have about 10,000 crore of fund which it's going to be implemented in the next couple of years. horticulture cluster development from framework, the program which is just being introduced, and I'm talking about the same, is also the key area where the government of India is going to invest. APIDA also, they have various initiatives around agri export policy to promote such clusters as and also leverage the export competitiveness around them. Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, Agriculture Infrastructure, which has about 1 lakh crore of interest subvention program, which is there, and that government of India wanted to really push this up further. Minister of Food Processing has its own various schemes around the capex, around other incentives, so that they can push the food processing nature. Their FPO program is also there. So all these points are converging together to ensure that we are competitive enough. There are less wastages. The farmers are getting remunerations as well as the industry is getting benefited. And to achieve all this, it also impacts the sustainability as sustainable development indicator, which includes about the lowering the hunger, gender inclusivity, and various other programs which ensure there is a holistic development around the horticulture happens. One more important point, I think, which is also important to really highlight, that the ecosystem which we are trying to emphasize on the horticulture sector uh, is based on various indicators, which includes infrastructure, which includes R&D, which includes commercial cultivation of couple of crops, as well as enhancing the exports. Next, please. Overview on the Karnataka, because BCIC being part of the Karnataka Chamber, and also we would like to give you a horizon around the Karnataka horticulture also. It is also important to highlight that about 20 million hectares what is being cultivated in the state of Karnataka. And in terms of the overall production, approximately 20 million metric ton is being horticulture which is being produced, and major share obviously goes to banana, mango, grapes, and there are a couple of very natural clusters in terms of pomegranate, which is in Chitraduga, which is also considered as part of this particular program, where we are going to work on starting from the pre-production level till the branding level for pomegranate in the region of Chitraduga. In fact, it's also great to see that approximately more than about 600 crores every year the government is spending, the state government is spending on horticulture sector through various programs, which include sustainability agriculture, horticulture mission, Krishi Vikas Yojana, and multiple other programs which ensure the complete development of horticulture around this. Next, please. So with all those thoughts in place, the cluster development program, which I'll further detail out in my subsequent presentation, is going to highlight the new possible opportunity around to this. Just to highlight that the drone, for example, the usage of drone in the agriculture horticulture sector is part of this program. AgTech, all the AgTech measures, are part of this program. The potential areas of collaboration, which will eventually emerge for the corporates and for the industry around this, is including the cluster development program, the clean planting material, commercial cultivation horticulture, the technological advancement, and other various areas which are imbibed into this program, as well as other programs this government is working on. Next, please. So now I'll talk about the program, and I'm sure couple of you would have been part of the pre-bid conference also, which National Horticulture Board has been organizing almost every fortnightly about the program details, which gives you complete details about the program as well as multiple details. And it was, as it was discussed earlier, that there are cluster development program is all about the 55 clusters which we have identified, and out of them 12 are identified for that pilot basis, because we wanted to eventually scale it to the 55, but we have started with 55, and basis the performance of 12, it will be scaled up to 55 further. The program was launched with 12 pilot, which includes apple, turmeric, pineapple, then pomegranate for Chitraduga, theni for banana, and couple of other crops, including Maharashtra as well. The complete ecosystem around this activity are identified and divided basis the opportunity of scale. So financial assistance is divided into three parts, which is mega 100 crores assistance would be provided to each to the stakeholders. For midi clusters are the medium clusters which are about 5,000 to 15,000 hectare, and mini clusters is 25 crore assistance would be provided, which are less than 5,000 hectare. So pomegranate Chitradurga is part of the midi cluster, which has about less than 15,000 hectare as I area. The program would going to impact about 1 million farmers, about 9 lakh hectare would be cultivated and supported, and 18 million metric ton would be the produce which would be handled across the country. And definitely there are about exports which is going to happen, and the investment would be promoted in the clusters. Next, please. So the program framework is that National Horticulture Board is assisting the cluster development agencies, which are part of each state. So CAPEC is the agency uh, which has been identified by the National Horticulture Board, which is floating this program. So CAPEC would be the agency which would be the face of the cluster development program. So this is a unique model where the government of India money is going to, it's a central sector scheme. This is also important to highlight. 100% money is from the government of India, which goes to the state governments. So CAPEC is the entity which is identified by the state government, where the complete program will be rolling out. So they have already floated the expression of interest. It is also important to highlight the complete expression of interest to link this program is already done, and we are in the process of receiving the applications. So the complete fund goes to the CDA, which is a CAPEC in this case, and then CAPEC float a tender for identification of implementing agencies. And these agencies would be in part of three verticals, which is pre-production, production, post-harvest management, logistic, branding, and marketing. So these are the three verticals identified because we understand the complete ecosystem of horticulture is much larger in nature. Everyone cannot go and probably impact everything. So we have given an option that you can take up the complete program together and obtain a subsidy of 50 crore, 200 crore, depending on the cluster size, and maybe you can part of any of the three verticals, which could be pre-production, post-harvest, and logistics marketing. Next, please. Next, please. So this is National Horticulture Board. Dal sir, you would like to uh, detail out about National Horticulture Board briefly?
It's more, all you are aware about NHB. This is actually working under National Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. It's a 100% funded by Ministry of Agriculture, and of course it's a autonomous organization, and we have one managing committee and one board of directors. So NHB is having powers to take decisions also, but overall control is under the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India. We are getting 100% funds from the government, and we are implementing the programs whatsoever Government of India is assigning to us. Like that, this cluster development program also assigned to NHB to implement, because this is a very flagship program of Government of India, and NHB has been given this responsibility to implement in 55 clusters. But initially, we have selected only 12 clusters, as Mr. Chirag Jain already clarified.
Sir, we can't hear you. Sir?
Yeah. You are not hearing me?
Sir,
Chirag ji?
his
cannot
voice
hear
is
you.
audible, sir. Your voice is audible, sir.
Chirag, it is audible.
Audible?
Yeah, audible.
Yeah.
Chirag, yours is just check it out.
So, like Mr. Chirag Jain has already explained this cluster development program, and regarding the funding pattern, we are getting the funds from the government, and after receiving the funds based on the cluster size, like mega, midi, and mini, NHB will release the money to CDAs, cluster development agencies, which are government entities. And then CDAs, they will select the implementing agencies in all the clusters. Like here in Karnataka, we have selected CAPEC on the recommendations of the state government. Now this CAPEC has already floated EOI, expression of interest, and we are waiting for this completion of the standard process. So my request to all the BCIC, actually, I am very much thankful. Under your this supervision, we are organizing this program, and I also in future your help. We need your help also in future, like this type of programs, so that we can get many more proposals and support from all the agencies. Regarding convergence, Mr. Chirag Jain has already explained, like this EPIDA, MFPI, and this RKVI, those agencies are also providing financial assistance. Then within that, this cluster development program and this districts, farmers, they can also get the benefit in that schemes also. So pattern of assistance under this cluster development program will be as per the MIDH and NHB cost norms. And apart from cluster development program, we are having other schemes also, like cold storage, other scheme, but today's program is especially focused on the cluster development. So I request all the participants to share this information to all the these agencies who are interested to participate in this program, so that a healthy competition can come. Thank you very much, sir. If anything will come, I will again explain.
Yeah, go to Chirag, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for this. So just to take this forward, I request if we can have a second next slide, please.
Yeah, it has come.
Okay.
Somebody from CAPAC can explain that will be much better, sir.
Mr. The MD Kapak, Mr. Venkatesh, or Mr. The MD of Kapak is there? Venkatesh? They said they are going to participate. I don't think they are. They're there. Anyway, you can go ahead, Chirag, please. Yeah.
So I think there is some. I can see only the NHB slide.
No, CDF file is there. It has come. Kapak file.
Okay.
There
So
is a PDF.
let me just reconnect again.
Yeah,
Just a second.
it is there. It is already visible. CDF profile Kapak.
Yeah, now I can see that.
Yeah,
So,
please. Yeah.
idea, sir, the CAPEC, I think CAPEC as an organization, it has been selected. There are a couple of criteria which are associated with this, which includes that, your larger coverage around the state, as well as, past profile around the horticulture. So that's the reason, CAPEC has been, kind enough to probably, tick all the boxes around the horticulture section. And that's how, they got the mandate of implementing this program from the central government as well as from the state government. Next, please. And this next slide is about, the program management unit, which is Grant Thornton. It is important to highlight that, as a program manager, and I'm team leader for the National Horticulture Board program of CDP, as well as I'm director with Grant Thornton. And, we are a program managers for multiple state government and central government initiative. And overall, it's a global firm, part of the global advisory, and working in about 150 countries and plus. So it is also important to highlight that, most of the work in the agri and allied sector, working with the farmers, FPOs, infrastructure side of it, food processing, engineering, or market and investment promotion is part of the portfolio which we do in terms of agribusiness. But otherwise, there is a large framework of advisory which is provided by Grant Thornton. Next, please. Uh, Now, Chitradurga, which is also the cluster identified in this particular region. So there is about 100 crore plus is the indicative investment which has been identified, which has to go into the cluster. And as you can see on the right side, the three verticals which are there ranging from pre-production, production, post-harvest management, logistics, marketing, branding. So each of the vertical has a couple of components, which ranges from nurseries, tissue culture labs, planting material, good agriculture practices, the Digitech services, then soil labs and testing lab, beekeeping related activities, as well as capacity building and training exercises. The post-harvest management vertical includes pack houses, cold storages, collection. Then we have various processing center, primary processing, secondary processing center, both packaging related work as well as mobile pre-cooling work itself. In addition to that, we have logistic, marketing, and branding component, which has reefer vans, export promotion council. So all those components are being funded by the government of India. And this is in terms of the assistance percentage would be around 40 to 50%. So for example, for 100 crore of the project investment, the subsidy would be 50 crore, and rest 60 crore would be the investment which has to come from the private sector. This particular program is already, as I highlighted earlier, expression of interest has been floated, and we request maximum number of stakeholders should apply, so that they can, if they have an interest in the Chitradurga and pomegranate as a value chain, then they should apply and they should implement this program. Next, please. So for implementing agencies, it is important to highlight. Next, please, what is in for them. So almost, depending on the size of the cluster, because I highlighted about Karnataka, but if they have an interest in other parts of the country, in other clusters also, they can take assistance up to 100 crores. EOIs have been floated, FPOs, FPCs, cooperatives, societies, government and private market players, value chain operators, horti input provider, FMCG companies, and other infrastructure players can apply for this. This is all the clusters are probably part of the well locations, and they have options for investment in the three verticals. There is a credit linkages, additional assistance from AIF, as well as convergence of other schemes from the various part of the government. Next. This is the process of, I think, implementation agencies. As I highlighted that the floating of call for proposal is already on, and we are going to give another month approximately, where the entrepreneurs can submit their proposal. They would be evaluated thereafter, and after evaluation, they would be, in terms of the complete evaluation, would be two parts. One is at the level of capex, second is at the level of Minister of Agriculture, National Horticulture Board, and then the approval letter would be issued to the identified and the selected IAs, and then they are going to implement the program with the timeline for this about 4 years. Next, please. So eligibility, who all can apply? I have indicated that FPOs, FPCs, and all, but while they apply, they should meet these 6 important criteria, which includes net worth. They should have whatever the net worth they are going to have. It should be minimum 2 times of the proposed equity. So whatever the equity you are going to propose into the project, your net worth of the two should be 2 times of that. They should have a 20% of the eligible promoters cost should be the part of promoters contribution. They should bring in a term loan either as an in principle approval or for the final approval during the submission process. Then we have also, the minimum percentage of the loan should be 20%. They should also have experience either agri, horti, producer, aggregator, food processor, and logistic providers likewise. Additionally, they should not be defaulted or blacklisted. Next, please. This is the application process. You can go to the National Horticulture website on the CDP. You can see the complete process. The complete process ranging from various set of activities, which includes a complete dashboard. It's all online, complete transparent ecosystem and transparent application process, as well as evaluation process is there, where you can see the list of document, the complete evaluation process, the check, the annexures, as well as the evaluation form in which the documents are to be submitted. Next, please. Timelines. So just to highlight, already expression of interest is floated. So we request the maximum participation from the implementing agencies for the program. Next, please. I request for the cluster development program, I request if you can scan this barcode and obtain the operational guidelines of National Horticulture Board. You can also download the same through the website of National Horticulture Board as well. And please do visit the CAPEC website. Next, please. These are the contact details. You can reach out to Dhalji.
Mr. Bantanal, our project director, managing
Yeah,
director.
Mr.
Whom I
Parvez
talked to
ji.
him. He said he's going to participate.
Yeah.
I don't think he's
And
gone. Yeah.
and the PMU team as well. Next, please. So this is all, I think, from our side, and happy to have any questions from anyone.
Thank you very much. It is over to Mr. Prakash to take over question and answer. And
We may close the slides.
Did not see any questions on the chat box except for probably once, which was not too relevant. No, somebody was talking about how many FPOs. I don't think that is relevant to this. I didn't see any questions. Yeah, Rupa, any questions? I didn't
But
see
there is
any.
one. I see one hand there. I think I see one raised hand. So if the
Okay.
person can identify, and then can ask question.
Yeah.
otherwise, who can raise their hand and they can do that. Yeah, please.
Yeah, while that is happening, I think my comment would be I've been involved with many of such kind of projects, both World Bank as well as JICA projects. And both Nakshatri and me, I think, have worked in sectors where end-to-end approach is followed. For example, the dairy sector. And the last assignment also was with the horticulture sector. I believe the importance of the comprehensive end-to-end solutions for any of these things. That is one thing. I've also observed that many such programs are very good in terms of the planning and all that. An additional feature that I see here is GT is involved, and then that is something good, It brings in the professional approach. Implementation, a lot of professionalism is required. Otherwise, there will be schemes, there will be plans and all that, and then later on, sometimes we never know what happens, I'm glad that GT is there. Yeah, any questions?
I think Mr. C.S. Rao wanted to have some questions.
Mr. Rao, are you there?
Yes, please. Under the CDP program, it is a crop is location specific. Any cluster gap survey is done under each vertical. What are the present gaps? Whether benchmark to improve, to involve, and to introduce the interventions. So the cluster gap survey helps in finding the solution before in advance. Instead of false positives, we will achieve this and that, doubling an income group, doubling income and all that. But I feel any cluster gap survey for each location for the particular crop as done under each vertical. If such are there, we will benchmark it and get the what are the results, positives we get.
You're absolutely correct, sir. And I got the answer. I got the question understanding also. So I request if someone in the team can display the annexures, because so the it would, I think it is very relevant question. I think a great question you have asked. Each state department, the CAPEC, for example, in this particular case, has undertaken the complete process of cluster gap assessment report. And basis additionally, not only the CAPEC, but additionally with Program Management Unity Grant Thornton as well as National Horticulture Board. Together, we have identified interventions in all the three clusters. And you can see the list of clusters, the list of interventions, as well as, we have identified costs. And the complete report is with the CAPEC. And if you want, we can also share with you. Which includes nursery is the gap, right? We have identified nursery which are to be put in, tissue culture la gap, definitely in terms of import of varieties. Then we have area expansion, rejuvenation of old style orchards, micro irrigation is another area, good agriculture practices, fruit care, crop care practices, formation of FPOs, mulching, beekeeping, and multiple other areas, which are being identified.
Yes,
Next, please.
That is right, sir. Particular location specific cluster, what are the gaps identified? It is the overall general gaps you have said. In the particular, suppose Mahbub Nagar mango is there. What are the location specific gaps that we have to attend? Like that.
No, so that's what I think submitting. So we all have, right, the complete detailed assessment is there, which is being called a cluster gap assessment report. And each cluster gap assessment report is with the relevant CAPAC, a relevant authority, which is a cluster development agency, as well as it is also available with the program management unit. So
is given
whatever
to the implementing agency.
Sorry?
Is it given to the implementing agency advancedly?
So, in case any agency if they wanted to have this report in place, they can always request and we can share for the specific crop and the specific cluster you are looking for.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, a couple of other questions which have come is one is Mr. Hari says, can we create more awareness programs to bring more inclusive participation? I think this can go on, isn't it, Mr. Chirag? Awareness program is
So
a part of here.
absolutely. So I think important point is that, the National Horticulture Board at their level as well as the program management unit is doing a lot of awareness. But my submission is the interested implementing agencies should also participate in the pre-bid meetings.
Yeah.
Right? The pre-bid meetings are very holistic exercise where you can really reach out to multiple stakeholders, and if you have any specific query around the program, when you have run through the complete details, you can raise over there. And you are not necessary, probably there are every time we are participating and we are implementing those pre-bid participation, and whatever cluster is of your interest, you can participate in that. The complete list of pre-bid days and everything you can find on the NHB website. So that's one. Additionally, if the IAs think that there is some specific reference which they wanted to mention, they can always reach out to the contact details and we can do that awareness further. But this is
Yeah,
definitely the responsibility of NHB and the PMU and CAPEC to promote this program.
yeah. And the other question is there the comprehensive list of 53 or 55?
Yes, it is there.
Available?
It is there. I can share with Nakshatri ji, and if someone can reach out and he can collect over there.
Somebody is also asking whether new clusters can be added.
Yes, they can be added, but this is only on the approval of competent authority and on the approval of competent authority, which is Secretary MOFW, and with the approval of honorable ministers, agriculture and farmers welfare.
Okay. I mean, more as a suggestion, not as a question. I think many times what could happen is there will be hesitation from IAs to really go and propose or bid for such kinds of projects. In that case, what should happen is agencies like BCIC should take a lead, and then one is identifying. Second, if there are people who are in double mind or two thoughts, we should enthuse them and see that they really go ahead. No? That would also be required. That's my experience actually.
So what we can do, I think it's a very relevant point, and I have onto the other table as well. I've worked with promoters, and till the time promoters are not able to really grasp what exactly the scheme is, they are not going to invest. So, and which is also fair point, right? So what I can do, maybe next week I request BCIC can fix a date, which could be a physical meeting, and next week or probably somewhere in the first week of April, where one of my team members who would be the cluster manager can come physically. He can explain each and whatever the points, if there are any concern, and we can have that meeting in CAPEC, right? So which could be a potential meeting to ensure if there are any further clarification and clarity required informally, formally, then we can always do that.
Hello, sir. I have a question. I am Rajpal Singh from DS Group.
Right, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Regarding pack houses, is under cluster development, or we can get separate subsidy for this from the government, any support from government?
So for pack houses, sir, you can always get other subsidies also. But if the focus is in Chitradurga and if the focus is for pomegranate, then this is a more appropriate scheme for you. But otherwise, there is a pack house scheme which is already there, which is in addition to this program.
Achha, one more question I have regarding this cluster. Like you have selected, there is cluster for turmeric in Meghalaya. And if you want to develop a cluster in Assam, how is it just we have to take approval from the government or any other processes?
I think for that, as I said earlier, it has to there is a process which has to go through, and you may always reach out to the National Horticulture Board for addition of Assam as a cluster because you are already working and you believe there is a potential to further add multiple things. So and additionally, we can. There are a couple of other World Bank programs which are running in Assam, and we will be happy to introduce you. I request if the team BCIC can open that contact details sheet, and team can take a probably they can take the number of the relevant team members, and they can reach back to them for more details and the specific details.
Okay.
You may go to the contact details slide, and you can definitely directly reach out to us for this specific question.
Okay,
You can
sure.
take a
Thank you.
picture of this and you can write back to us.
Just a minute, please.
Mr. Abner Chin, you can go ahead with your questions.
One person has also requested to have a QR code. So I think
Hello.
after you can open the QR code.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go
Hello.
ahead. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me here. And I have a question about the FPOs in India. And I have a understanding that many of the FPOs are on paper. I've met one beautiful FPO like Shah Saidri Farms in Nasik. But in this case, we are developing in India so many FPOs, and maybe I'm wrong, but I have the notion that most of the FPOs are on paper. So can somebody elaborate about these things?
Mr. Abner?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Chirag, you want to say something about this FPOs?
Yeah, I'll in fact I'll not go much in details of this because this is beyond the the scope of this program. But just to give you a highlight, sir, yes, initially I think we have done a brief study because we were, in fact, I was part of one of the programs, which was ASFAC pilot program, where we have visited almost, detailed exercise was done in terms of assessment of FPOs. So from all those perspective, yes, there has been a significant requirement in terms of building the capacity. And I also agree to the point that there is significant number of FPOs are still in probably very nascent stage, and they need to really supported to reach out to a larger platform, and there should be larger assistance is required. That's a reason that government of India has focused on 10,000 FPO program. That was a major reason, and that's how they have been building this up. Yes, it is taking time, and it is more like a startup, and I'm sure you would be aware that out of 100 startups, only 5 to 10 only survive. So that's these are also more like very initial support system and kind of startup, where some of them do survive and some of them really scale up and some of them probably are not able to. So that's the thing. But yes, the 10,000 FPO scheme is the scheme which is really helping to take the complete ecosystem forward.
Okay.
Prakash, can we
I
go
don't,
forward? Yeah.
yeah, sure. I don't see any other questions. Right. And so I think I will not go through an elaborate summing up of the whole program, because I think all the three speakers, Mr. Mitra, Dal Singh and Chirag, you were very clear about basically what you are trying to do is impress upon the audience the importance of cluster development program, which I think I would personally say, in this being in the sector for last 30-35 years, I would definitely say that this approach is something very good and should yield results. Some cases where there are doubts are the case of implementation is where things can go wrong. But here, since GT is there, I would feel that implementation also to an extent would be on track and taken care of. That is something good about this. You spoke about one is in all the three spoke about in general about the whole program, the countrywide program, the way it is done, the way it is funded, and the implementing agencies and all that. And then specifically, I think Chirag mentioned about in detail in his presentation about why horticulture is important for the country. I think that is important to note actually. Horticulture has, in a way, crossed agriculture, and it is beneficial to all the stakeholders. everybody, the farmers, the other stakeholders. Then the value addition from horticulture is much more than the percentage of the area or percentage it occupies. These were some of the things. CAPEC, I think what we will also do is BCIC will get in touch with CAPEC and see how we could help them. Actually, that we will do from our side. Thank Mr. Mitra, Mr. Dal Singh from the NHB, as well as Chirag Jain from GT for their excellent presentation. I would believe that this is the start of the whole thing, and these programs would go on for, I think, a couple of years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm sure that BCIC will be a part of the whole journey. That's the way we would see. This is just a the awareness kind of program, and BCIC will be there with the program to see that it is effectively implemented, at least in the state of Karnataka. With that remark, I think, yeah.
No, I think pleasure, sir. It was a great audience, and happy to have so many questions, right? And happy to have answers. I'm able to probably answer a few, and if there are further clarification required, I'm happy to take up offline as well. And not only that, fortunately, Grant Thornton is implementing a couple of large programs, including support to about 4,000 MSMEs in the state, right? That's a program which we are undertaking with the state government of Karnataka. We are happy to have you, BCIC, work together with you. And additionally, we are doing a large program for dairy in that state, and we wanted to take that up with you as well. So I think Nakshatri sir can be in contact to take those discussions further.
Okay. Anybody wants to have any clarification or anything to be arranged, Prakash and myself will arrange to the CAPAC, to BCIC, they can write to us or to directly write to us or BCIC, and we'll be in touch with Mr. Chirag and also CAPAC, and we'll coordinate. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. Now, I think there are two more the events. One is Rupa. Please, can you go with this one? The speakers, this one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, the distinguished speakers, for their exhaustive presentation. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to play a small video of expressing our gratitude. Please stay with us, sir. Thank you very much. May I now request everyone to join us for the national anthem, please.
Yeah, before the national anthem, Rupa, I think we should also, one is I thank the speakers plus the BCIC expert, Agri committee is the other thing which I would definitely thank, and the able leadership of Ankur, and then Nasim Nakshatri, who pushes things, actually things are moving forward. That is one. And then of course all the participants who are present for this program, I'm sure some of them at least would make use of this and see that the CDP becomes successful. Last but not the least is the Secretariat of BCIC, which I thank very much, especially Rupa and Prithvi, for all the support. Yes, now you can go on. Yeah. Yes.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, Dal Singh ji. Thank you so much for sparing your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Chirag. I think we'll be in touch with you. We'll take it forward. Thank you,
Yeah.
Prakash. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ankur
thank
ji.
you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Yes. Thanks to Vishwamitra ji. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rupa. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you all, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.